Today we're going to make what might be the best corn dish of all time, elotes. Elote is the Spanish word for corn, but in this case it refers specifically to this famous Mexican street food. And not to be too corny, but the word on the street is that it's awesome, so let's make some. First up here, of course, we're going to need some corn. If you can't find it with the husk on like this, well, shucks. But don't worry, pre-processed corn on the cob will also work. We'll just have to stick a skewer in the end of those to act as a handle. But if you can find them whole like this, it's ideal. We just want to peel those husks back and get rid of all that corn silk. Don't shuck too aggressively though. We actually want to keep these husks on here. They're going to act as the perfect built-in elote handle. Now, while it is possible in theory to actually just use these husks to tie themselves together, I found that to be a little bit of a hit and miss operation. They're always tearing off or breaking or causing me some kind of pain in the butt, which is just not very appealing. So I decided to opt for a little length of string instead. Little length of string works every time. Even that is optional, kind of. I mean, you can see these husks are pretty much going to stay where they are, although when you cook, they are going to have a tendency to fan out a little bit, so I do think the string is worth it, just to keep everything kind of nicely wrapped together. Anyway, once we have a handle on that corny situation, we can go ahead and talk butter. Now, I probably watched a dozen different elotes video trying to figure out the best way to make this, and I probably saw a dozen different methods. Some people used butter, some people didn't use butter. We're going to be using butter here today, but it's not really going to add too much flavor. What it is a transfer agent between the heat coming off the grill and our corn. Just like when we're making a baked potato, a thin layer of oil on the outside will actually help it cook faster. Well, not only will it help our corn cook faster, but it will give it a great sear on the outside. Just goes to show, as always, butter makes it better. And now that we have those four ready, let's go ahead and toss these on our grill. You can also simply boil these if you don't want to grill them. But if you do grill them, lay them along your grill grate like that. That way they're not going to roll around too much on you. And especially with that butter on there, these aren't going to take too long to cook, probably 4 or 5 minutes per side. So while our corn cooks, let's go ahead and prepare our toppings. And first and foremost here is our cheese. We're going to be using some Mexican cotija cheese today. This is a Mexican fresh cheese, very similar to feta, so if you can't find this, just substitute in plain feta. Cotija is a little milder, but it's also a crumbly cheese, and we just want to break this apart into really small little pieces. The idea here is to have this actually stick to our corn, so smaller is definitely better. It occurred to me that we could just put all of this in a food processor and get it real fine real quick, but I just decided to use my fingers. In addition to that, we're also going to want some kind of chili seasoning. Ideally, I like this tahini seasoning because it's a combination of chili and lime. And speaking of limes, we've also got a couple of those. Those are going to get squeezed on the outside once we're done. And now for the sauce to hold it all together, we have a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise and a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I saw a lot of people doing straight mayonnaise or straight sour cream, and some people did the combination. Personally, I like the combination. But if you're feeling lazy and you want to save yourself 15 seconds, just one or the other would be fine here. So we'll get those two blended together, and then that's it for our toppings, although you can mix and match in here just whatever you would like. For my friends on the other side of the pond that can't get chili powder, try curry powder. And by now our corn should be ready to flip, so let's have a look. Yep, got a great sear on that one side. And you see how easy these are to deal with, leaving those husks intact? I don't even need any tongs or anything. So we'll just get all these flipped and we'll let them cook for another 4 or 5 minutes. Once those have a good sear on both sides, we'll go ahead and pull these off and get topping. And the procedure here is pretty simple. We really just want to cover these in our mayo sour cream sauce. And you're going to be tempted to kind of skimp as you're painting this on, but don't. I would say treat this like icing a cake. Put too much on at first. It's easy to remove some. We really want to get this completely covered. We want it in all the nooks and crannies and absolutely everywhere. Once our corn is sufficiently covered, we simply want to sprinkle on our cotija cheese. Don't be shy. We want to get as much on here as will physically stick to the corn. Now that we're both corny and cheesy, let's go ahead and add our chili powder. Again, if you can't find this tahini seasoning, other chili powders or seasonings of your choice will also go great here. But we're not done yet. Now we're going to add some of our favorite hot sauce. I like this Tapatio sauce. I would pepper in one more spicy pun here, but I'm afraid I might get burned. And just one final touch here before we plate this up. A squeeze of fresh lime. Chili and lime is one of those flavor combinations made in heaven, like chocolate and peanut butter. But that's it, folks. Our Elotes are ready to serve. This recipe is a really easy way to take an ordinary ear of corn and turn it into something really amazing. So I hope you give it a try soon. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Passion for Food. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss our future recipes. And if you're looking for the perfect main course to go with your elotes, I suggest this awesome beef barbacoa. Video up on the screen now. This has been Graham with Passion for Food.